This episode was originally published in February of 2024.
Good morning, Kent Hance, best storyteller in Texas. Saying of the day, if you don't take risk, you will always work for someone who took risk or an organization where someone took the risk. That's Warren Buffett said that, and he's right. And you got to take some risk. And his company, Berkshire Hathaway, they've taken a lot of risks since the 60s, and most of them have turned out really good. They really turned out well.
Boy, if there's someone to take advice from, it's definitely got to be Warren Buffett, right?
Yeah, on business matters, I wouldn't. His dad was a U.S. congressman.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and from Nebraska, and was very conservative. And was a Republican and was kind of in the Goldwater camp before it became popular to be in the Goldwater camp. He'd fit right in with the Republican Party now. But Warren, getting educated, Columbia, getting their master's there and everything, he's kind of turned out more to the left. But he's not a progressive. He's more like the old-time Democrats. And, it's just amazing to me that anyone, they're not going to be for tax increases, even though they're Democrats. Rarely do they come out for a tax increase because they know that stifles the business economy, and that the more you tax something, the less you're going to get of it, and the more you subsidize something, the more you're going to get of it. So we go through a lot of things when it comes to tax and tax policy.
Chancellor, can I say a real quick question? You said something interesting. You said one of the old-time Democrats. Is there a point in history where that changed? Can you pinpoint it? Or not pinpoint it, but a general era?
No, I think it's been in the last 20 years that the progressives moved forward. And they are way to the left. You like Bernie Sanders. Bernie ran as a socialist. And got elected as a socialist. And it says a lot about Vermont, but he got elected as a socialist, and it's been the squad in the House, AOC and the lady from Minneapolis, and they're progressives. They want to punish business, and they want to tax them into oblivion and take that money and spend it on social programs for who knows.
It's like you've always said that in an election, you're going to get, if you're on the left, you're going to get beat to the left. If you're on the right, you're going to get beat to the right.
That's what's happened.
Yeah.
That has helped the progressives immensely. And so in the last 20 or 30 years, you look at Schumer and you look at Dick Durbin, the two leaders for the Democrats. They have been traditionally liberal Democrats, but every once in a while they'll have some idea that gets pushed in on them from the progressives that's really way out there. Another example, defund the police. I mean, that's something that did not come out of the Republican Party or Democrat Party or whatever. That came out of the progressives, and the Democrats jumped on it, and they liked it. And then some of them started getting beat, and some of them they did away with funding for the police, and crime goes up, and so there's downside to those. And a lot of them had that issue made against them in campaigns, and they've backed away from being out there and the Democrats saying defund the police.
They certainly gave the Republicans something to run on.
They jumped on it.
Yeah.
Anytime someone comes up with some issue that the other side may see it as this is a big deal. We need to, get this one way out there and push it hard. One thing I wanted to mention, a week ago Sunday, on February the 11th, we had a memorial service in the chapel at Texas Tech for Gage Ingram. And Gage was a 2019 graduate of Texas Tech. He went into the military, went into the Navy, and became a Navy SEAL. And he was in the Arabian Sea and they boarded a ship that they thought that had a lot of weapons on it going to Yemen, and his ladder was cut loose, and so was another guy. One jumped in to save the other, and they both drowned. And they have not recovered the body. We had the memorial service there, and his mother, Christy Hughes, was there, and really a sweet lady. His dad, Chet Ingram, is originally from Quanah, Hardeman, but both of his parents went to Texas Tech. His granddad was sheriff in Hardeman County, Quanah, up between Vernon and Amarillo, and was there as sheriff for 24 years, and his uncle is now county judge there. And his family's always believed in community service, and he wanted to serve his nation, and he made up his mind as a young person that he wanted to be a Navy SEAL, and he was able to accomplish that. There were over 20 SEALs came in for the service. It was a sweet service. I just wish every member of Congress, our Congressman Jody Arrington was there, but I wish every member of the House and Senate could have seen that. And with his buddies from high school and his buddies from college, and boy, it's an all-American group. Mm-hmm. And he loved his country. He was fighting for us, and I set out to raise money for a scholarship, $100,000 endowed. I gave $10,000 and got some of my friends that were on the board to give 10, and we've raised 85 in less than 2 weeks. I think we'll go way over 100,000. We're planning some other things, and it was a sad deal. There was hardly a dry eye anywhere in the congregation that was there honoring him. And we had a lunch afterwards, and I sat at a table with Navy SEALs, 2 Aggies, 1 Red Raider, 1 Longhorn, a young man from Southern Cal, 1 from Fordham. I said, the Rams, and he was surprised that I knew their mascot. Said that's where Vince Lombardi went to school. And that also the Citadel and Ole Miss, Penn State, and it was outstanding young group. I was really impressed. It's
a reminder that there are young people all over this world doing dangerous things that
every day we
don't know about.
Yeah, we don't know about, and you're not going to hear about it unless something really bad goes wrong. Mm-hmm. But we've got people all over the world, and they're trying to keep us safe. I told the ones that I had lunch with, I'll sleep better at night knowing y'all are here and out there. And it was a sad deal. One other thing, and I apologize bringing up something, but Sarah House is a young Texas Tech graduate that was killed in a car wreck a week ago Saturday. She and her boyfriend were at a light waiting for the light to change, and a drunk came along in a big pickup and just hit them. Didn't brake, just hit them. And they think there's a woman driving, and they will solve this. And I've given money for a reward. And
the driver left?
The driver took off.
Oh, and it's as of this recording.
Took off on foot. Yeah, and has not been arrested. They do not know exactly who it is. They've got some suspicions. They're trying to find her.
Oh, they will.
And it'll just be a matter of time.
Right.
But it will happen. And the one they are suspicious has had DWI problems in the past, and had been caught with a child in the car riding, and while they were drunk. And so Sarah House was an outstanding Red Raider. We're proud of her, and she was loved by many, and we want to salute her.
And our thoughts and prayers go out to her. We remind you to go through our past episodes, and also that we would love to hear from you. Chancellor Hance loves getting your email. He loves hearing from listeners, our old friends that maybe haven't reconnected with for a while. And if you have a favorite story from Chancellor Hance, because there's hundreds of them. I'm sure you've forgotten most of them. But if you have one and you'd like to rehear it, we would love to hear from you. Send us email. It's info@hancepodcast.com. Again, info@hancepodcast.com. I know you love hearing from people that are listening.
I do. And some of them I hadn't heard from, in a long time. Some of them I don't know.
Well, that's all right. You make a new friend.
Yep.
You make a new friend. Let's talk on a much, much lighter subject. Did you see that the inventor of the pop-tart passed away?
Bill Post. Yeah. He's working for Post Toasties. He didn't own it. He was working and invented the pop-tart. And it was a surprise. Young kids all over America wound up getting a dessert for breakfast. They liked that. And so they got a dessert for breakfast. And he was 96 and was proud of his team that put together the Pop-Tart. Seinfeld's coming out with a movie called The Untold Story of the Pop-Tart in May. And that guy was really looking forward to seeing the movie, but he won't. He'll be in the movie, but he won't, be able to watch the movie.
Interesting story about Pop-Tarts is that Walmart always says in times of natural disaster and hurricane, when people fled the Walmart, the first thing they sell out of is Pop-Tarts. Yeah, because they're never going to go bad.
Yep, they'll have something there. That's pretty funny. You mentioned Walmart, but Walgreens in D.C., they got robbed every month for 6 months at about the same time. Mm-hmm. And the general manager and his nephew were in on it, and they were able to, break the crime story and arrest the people, and which is, it just shows how stupid criminals can be. But there was one instance where, in a separate instance, a guy got charged with a crime, and where you go to get your bond, where they take you to get your bond set, there's an ATM machine there so that you can get some cash put up for your bond. And this guy evidently looked it over and decided that, that's where you can get a lot of cash. So he jimmied the door in the video shows this, jimmied the door and got in the building at night to rob the ATM in the jail. And he got caught. Shazam, who would ever think you'd get caught on robbing the jail? And he got caught, and his trial's pending, but he's probably going to get some jail time.
How does the judge, when he goes before a judge, keep a straight face? Yes.
Yeah. You did what? They had, I've mentioned this before, my son-in-law, Phil Sorrells, who's district attorney in Fort Worth now, when he was a judge, there was a kid for bond settings had on a T-shirt that said "wanted" in every state, and it was like women wanted him in every state. Mm-hmm. But he had the bailiff get the kid's driver's license. He ran a background check on him, and he was not wanted in every state, but he was wanted in one. So they arrested him on the spot. And, don't wear stupid T-shirts to court, and don't try to rob the jail.
Right.
I just shook my head when I read that one and said, boy, you talking about stupid criminals. There's a bunch of them.
Did you see the one on Twitter of the judge? She says, Mr. So-and-so, you're charged with stealing a Dolphins jersey. And they panned to the defendant, and he's wearing a Dolphins jersey. People just, they don't think. I don't think.
Yeah, look down that. Wow, look, where did I get that? How did that happen? By the way, Delta had a flight from Amsterdam. To Detroit. And maggots, about 2 hours out, there were maggots dropped out of the overhead bins onto people. Oh. And they started complaining everything. And someone had a fish, a dead fish they were trying to take back. And it had maggots all over it. And the maggots were getting, and they turned around and went back.
Oh, how'd that get through security?
I don't know.
If it's got maggots, it's got to have a smell.
It's got to have something.
What were they going to do with it?
I don't
A
know.
rotting fish above you. I
You
feel
know,
bad.
somebody's always doing something really stupid. You think, what were they thinking? And the answer is, they weren't. They weren't thinking, or they wouldn't have done it. One other thing in reading, I like to read different stories and everything. But in South Carolina, 3 policemen were arrested for prank calls, and they were calling other law enforcement agencies and reporting a dead body had been found somewhere. And one time in the Texas Panhandle, there was a sheriff in one of the counties, and the chief of police at the county seat did not get along. And the chief of police was big on calling the news anytime he could. And the sheriff was in a doctor's office, and they had one of those skeletons, on the wall hanging out. And he asked him, where you get one of those? And the guy said, I've got one that we used to use, and you can have it. So he buried it not real deep in that town, and then had somebody call the chief of police and tell him there was a body buried such and such. Somebody, and the guy dug it up, and he called Channel 7 in Amarillo, and they covered it, and he's talking about, we're going to get this crime. And then somebody told him, it's, be careful, it's plastic. And, but he had already gone so far and sent it off, and the reporter was on top of it, and it came out, and he wasn't real happy about that.
How long did he last after that happened?
He was gone in a short period of time. They told him they were going to give him leave, and you're fired, so that you can go find dead bodies.
This is a great chance for you to tell the story of not everybody can be a police officer.
Yeah,
we've talked about it before. It's not everybody.
I'm telling you something. You have to have the right temperament, and you've got to be trained and properly trained, and people be critical of police, and there's always some story where there'll be some. There was one last week where a police car, they arrested a guy and they had him in the back of the car, and they were standing there talking, these 2 policemen, and an acorn fell out of a tree and hit the top of the car, and they thought it was gunfire. They thought he was shooting at them. They pulled out their guns and shot 20 times into the car and didn't hit him. They need to have some training on that. I mean, that's not good. But in this day and time, most of your police are really well trained, and they go through all kinds of scenarios. I still tell the story about in Dimmitt when Big John Johnson was looking in his closet, and there was a man in the closet, and he drove into town and got Sheriff Jack Cartwright and the chief of police, W.W. Jones, and they went out there with their guns and everything, and he told me he'd stay in the car while they went, and he drew him a little map of where the intruder, which closet he was in. And they went in there, and about 10 minutes later they came out. He said, "Y'all get him?" He said, "Big John, what was that old boy wearing?" He said, "He had on Levi's, kind of like mine, and boots kind of like mine." They said, "Well, he's changed clothes. He got on slacks like the sheriff's and shoes like the sheriff's." "What do you mean?" He said, "It's a mirror." And his wife had been cleaning the house and everything and moved some things around, and she moved a mirror into that closet. So when he opened the door, there was his feet, and he moved around, and he just took off running for the car and drove as fast as he could to get to town to report there was a man in there. And so after that, I'm talking about years later, he'd come into the pool hall, and people say things like, "Hey, Big John, what's that old boy in your closet got on today?" They didn't cut him any slack, and he heard that a bunch.
Who was your friend that said when you get pulled over by a police officer, the goal is for both parties to go home?
Coffee Anderson said that. The number one priority for you and for the police is if you get stopped, is for both of you to go home and be well, and that you can argue about the case when you go to court. And you'll have lawyers, and they'll have lawyers, and there'll be a jury, and all kinds of things can happen, but everybody gets to go home. And that, when you get stopped, that's your objective. Make sure you get to go home.
Chancellor, I always enjoy these lists of cities that have the worst drivers and cities that have the best drivers. In this case, we've got the top cities with the worst drivers that lead to actual deaths. Did you see that list?
I did, and it was there were 2 in the top 10 from Texas, but the number 1 was Albuquerque. In Albuquerque, they have a lot of stolen cars.
Oh,
oh yeah, I mean they have, they're close to Mexico and they can get rid of them pretty fast. And Albuquerque's had a lot of problems with crime. And second was Memphis. Third was Detroit. Fourth was Tucson. Fifth was Dallas. And Fort Worth didn't want to be left behind, but they came in at ninth. Most of these cities, they don't have a lot of mass transit. Dallas got some, Fort Worth's got some, but not a bunch. You don't have this in New York City or Boston where there's a lot of mass transit because they're not driving, and they're taking a bus or taking the subway. And, it just proves to me, and just like I was talking about Sarah House, the young girl from Texas Tech that was killed last week, is that, boy, you got to drive defensively. You got to look out for everything, especially out if you're out late at night on Friday, Saturday. I had a friend tell me one time, the professional drunks won't get you, but the amateurs that maybe just get drunk once a year or something like that, you really got to be careful with them on New Year's and on weekends. And you got to drive defensive.
And anticipate when you're driving.
If you don't anticipate, what can happen, what might happen, you're leaving yourself wide open. Shouldn't do it. Sandy, I was looking in the newspaper the other day, and they had a list of birthdays. And I read and read and read, and I didn't know any of them until I got to the guy, Harvey Korman.
Oh, he was great.
And he was a great comedian and very funny. But and Susan B. Anthony. But they must have had 20 names, and I didn't know who they were. I said, boy, have I lost touch with reality or what? There's people that have gotten famous all of a sudden for something I never heard of them.
I got to get you a subscription to People Magazine.
I read People Magazine when I go to the barbershop.
That's where you get caught. And those are probably 8-9 months old.
Yeah, but they'll have pictures. They're big on pictures. It's just like the ballot in Argentina. They had the candidate's name typed in, and had perforated ballots. And it showed their picture. And they'd been in the news, and they'd run ads and everything. So all you did is, tear it out, sign the back of it, and leave, and that's it.
Boy, that new president down there is quite a character.
He is. He's
a handful.
He's pushing some things and pushing to make the American dollar the official currency. And it is the unofficial currency right now. More American dollars in Argentina than any other country in the world except the United States.
Chancellor, I have a question for you on a personal note that I think will relate to everybody listening. There's an issue, there's a bill right now that's out there that I want my congressman, John Carter, to support. What's the best way about letting him know that this is a good thing? How do you go about telling your congressman that you think this is a good idea?
John Carter, they call him Judge because he was judge for many years. Judge Carter's a good member of Congress, and you'll get you can send him an email or write him a letter, and he will see it. And his staff at the end of the day, they will get a list of everybody that wrote and what they wrote about in their position, so he knows. The other thing you can do is watch the local papers or send a text message to him. To his office, his local office, and ask him, when will he have a town hall meeting? When will he be back in the district that I could see him? And if it's going to be a while, then you'll be able to see somebody on the staff, at least talk to them and tell them what you. I go back to the lady that at my town hall meeting one time said, I've got a stupid question. She was embarrassed to ask, and she asked a question. In less than 2 years, Reagan signed a law solving her problem in the Rose Garden. So, there's no stupid questions.
Is it something that you should, before you ask it in a town hall, should they know about ahead of time?
No, not necessarily. I mean, your town hall meetings, I always say, don't call on the guy that has his hand up when you walk in the building. He's a nut. He's going to cause problems. Call on the local mayor or somebody that's going to thank you for coming, and then they'll ask a legitimate question, and then you can later call on him. Okay. But I think it's important. Town hall meetings, I always found out things at town hall meetings. Every once in a while you get chewed out. I had a lady chew me out one time. And she said, I guess I've ruined your day, and I apologize for ruining your day. I said, no, there's professionals in Washington, D.C. that are there to ask questions that'll ruin your day. So an amateur like you is not going to ruin my day. And the crowd clapped.
That's a great line.
The saying of the day, if you don't take risks, you will always work for someone that did. Warren Buffett. It's a good statement. See you next week.